Welcome back to Not Your Average Joe and Dad, and today we'll be talking about turkey hunting and shotguns.
That's right. It's almost the best time of the year.
Saturday is the start of youth season.
That's right. We have 2 more sleeps before we wake up and go after turkeys.
In the morning, we're kind of going after turkeys. We're going to listen.
Yeah, we're going to go listen because we're recording this on a Thursday, and youth turkey season starts Saturday, March the 8th. So we're pretty excited about that. Joe has to get that monkey off his back. He has not killed a turkey yet. Ever. And I'm going to tell my favorite story about Joe and turkey hunting here in a little bit. But I guess since our last podcast, it's been a little bit. What have you done lately? You've done all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah, let's see. We had a parade going in front of our house.
Yeah, had a Mardi Gras parade where Joe was dancing in the streets, screaming and grabbing beads and
stealing beads from my best friend. I was jumping in front of him and catching them.
That's right. Yeah, so you had that. We had a big old parade come by the house.
And then I made like a bow out of sticks, and then made some arrows out of sticks. And an arrowhead out of glass.
And I said, "How'd you make that arrowhead?" And he goes, "I napped it." He's been out napping arrowheads out of glass. And tell people what napping is for them that they don't know.
It's making an arrowhead, chiseling away the rock or glass or whatever away that you don't want to make it look like an arrowhead and sharp and pointy.
Yeah, that's how people used to make arrowheads in the day. So I'll walk outside and he's like, "Hey, I made this." And he's got a stick with some string, looks like a bow. He's got an arrowhead that he carved. He has a little multi-tool and he kind of sawed in a notch for the arrowhead and had
batoned it.
Batoned it and had some butcher twine that he got wrapped in the arrowhead. And then on the back, he actually sawed in a nock and looked like a bow and arrow. It didn't shoot real well because he got some non-straight sticks to make the arrows out of.
There's not much straight good sticks in the backyard.
True. But so we had the parade. That was fun. You had a good time. And then we kicked off baseball. We had our first. What? I'm sorry.
At my parade, I gave one of my best friends a pocket knife and a shirt.
Oh, yeah. You gave Andrew a pocket knife with his name on it, one of your old hunting shirts.
Yeah. I had to ask his dad first before giving him the pocket knife.
True.
He's only about like 4 years old.
Is he 4 or 5? I think he's 5. He just turned 5.
When?
I think he had a birthday in December.
I
think.
His birthday's in December?
Don't hold me to that, but I think so. So yeah, you had your parade, and then what else you do? Baseball.
Oh yeah, baseball.
We kicked off first baseball practice. That was fun.
Yeah, about the only catcher.
Yeah, Joe's a catcher. I was a catcher, so he's taking after me.
Pure blood.
Huh? And I'm coaching. I'm assistant coach, and Joe came up to bat, and I'd already thrown to like 25 batters, and I couldn't throw a ball over the plate to save my life. I've been hearing all about it.
I had 3 balls, no strikes, and Dad kept calling balls strikes since he wanted me to swing.
Yeah, I told you to swing the bat. They were terrible. That's on me.
And the last one, I hurt my arm.
Yeah, poor baby. You'll be just fine. So we had that. Then we ran to Georgia to pick up a Land Cruiser.
From my mom.
Yeah, we went and got a Land Cruiser in Georgia.
Her dream car.
It's just white. She wanted a white one. We found a white one.
Pearl cream white 100.
Yeah, it's a 100 series Land Cruiser. It's actually a Lexus LX 470, but nonetheless, still the same. And I had to drive back home from Georgia, did a turnaround, so we left at like 5:30 and went there, picked it up, and drove all the way back and caught 1-lane traffic somewhere in Alabama.
Yeah, we came home we drove through a really bad storm.
Yeah, that was pretty rough. I looked down and it said 60+ mile an hour winds, and I felt every bit of that coming over some bridges. It would hit you and move the car off the side of the road and come back. It was got a little western there for a minute. It was pretty rough.
And I met my dad's friend that has sent me a lot of stuff, including a knife.
Yeah, Mr. Judd's been good to you. They all have. Chase, Judd, Tim.
Yeah. He gave me a coin when we got there.
He did, and then took you to lunch. Gave you a hamburger.
Which was delicious. And the goat cheese on the burger made it really good.
Yeah, Joe loves the goat cheese.
And then I had a popsicle. It was like a fudge chocolate popsicle, which I've never had.
That's sad you've never had a fudge popsicle.
Well, yes. You know why I can't have them.
Yeah, we have very bougie dietary needs.
Let's see, about gluten-free, dairy-free, not really sugar-free. We can have sugar. We can kind of have gluten. Dad can't have gluten though. He will break out the next day.
Yeah, so that's a story for another day. We sound real bougie talking about all of our dietary needs.
Hold on.
Oh, you got more?
Whenever we want to know if it has gluten in it, we hand it to Dad and he eats it, and the next day we'll see.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So anyway, that's
Just kidding.
boring. Let's
Just
move
kidding.
on.
We don't do that.
Let's move on. Let's talk about turkeys. You ready for turkey season?
Yep.
What? Let's see.
Today,
Oh, go ahead.
today we went to my grandmother and grandpa's. We ate lunch and we shot my shotgun. And this little goofball right next to me forgot his choke, so we couldn't shoot his shotgun, but we shot my shotgun.
Yeah, we were going out to pattern our shotguns. They're still dialed in from last year. Nothing's changed, but just make sure we get them on paper. Make sure everything's right. We got Joe's, and I pulled mine out, and I was like, huh. I changed the choke because when I went to deer hunt in Texas, we were actually also shooting doves, and I was gonna try that shotgun out, and I ended up not taking it. But I never switched the choke back over. So we get there and go to pattern the shotguns, and I guess now's the time to talk about shotguns. So Joe actually has I found it for him a while back. It's a Charles Daly 101 in bottomland camo. It's a single shot 410. I have a Carlson choke on it, and it's just the perfect turkey gun for kids. I actually don't mind toting it around. I mean, it patterns exceptionally well.
Didn't you take it turkey hunting once?
Probably more than once last year. Yeah. I mean, at 30 yards, and I'm using Apex Ninja number 9s in a 3-inch shell. And at 30 yards, I mean, it just absolutely covers the paper. Even at 40 yards, it still has a great pattern. I mean, I would not hesitate to shoot a turkey at 40 yards with that gun. And it's extremely lightweight, like 5 pounds. It's not heavy at all.
And it folds up kind of like a, I don't know.
Yeah, when you break it open, it actually will fold back. So you could make it a backpack gun. And on top of it, we have a red dot. I think it's just a little
Sig Sauer.
Yeah, it's a SIG red dot. But just that really comes in clutch with a kid shooting.
Except for when they fall asleep.
We'll talk about that. But it's just a really good gun. I think we had a YouTube video out a couple years ago when we got it.
You can find that on Dustin Messina.
I think it's Dustin Jameson on the YouTube. I don't do a whole lot on there, but that video's actually got a lot of views. People looking at it. We did a kind of a review what the gun is, what you can do with it, kind of the different loads, the different shots, because it comes with the turkey choke straight from the factory. I just replaced it with a Carlson choke because I prefer those. So I shot it at 30, made sure that I still liked the pattern. And we weren't shooting from a bench. We were actually just shooting from a tree like we would a turkey. And then Joe shot it at 20 and 30.
Pretty much the same exact spot, low and right.
Yeah, he's slapping on the trigger a little bit. So he's pushing low and right.
It would have killed the turkey, though, because it was all over.
It definitely would have killed the turkey, but he's definitely yanking on the trigger a little bit. We got to work on that. But so that's Joe's setup. My primary setup this year is a Weatherby Element in a 20 gauge. It is actually their turkey model. They just came out with the Gen 2 version. This is the Gen 1. It's the Weatherby Element turkey, 22-inch barrel, all in bottomland. They do not come tapped or threaded for a red dot, but I took it and had it threaded. Am I boring you again?
No.
You're always yawning when I'm talking. Had it threaded for a red dot, and you have to use an adapter. So it's a Some Toy adapter. That's the name of the company. I think they're out of Alabama that makes for the Vortex. I think I'm running a Vortex Viper or no Vortex Venom red dot. It's whichever one Vortex said was waterproof because I wanted it to be waterproof. So don't yawn. I'm looking at you. You're about to yawn again. So that's primarily what I'm running. I have another Weatherby Element in a 12 gauge. I've killed a lot of turkeys with that. That's a good gun too. I'll probably bounce back and forth between those. I moved to Weatherby Elements 5 years ago. I've had all the shotguns, the new Browning A5s, the Berettas, all of them. I really like the old A5s. I've killed actually a lot of turkeys with an old model like Humpback or Hump A5 20 gauge. I know you don't like the gun talk.
No, I do like that gun talk.
But I've moved to these Weatherby Elements and I've absolutely beat them to death. I mean, the 12 gauge I've dropped in frozen water.
Yeah, he fell backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I was breaking ice with it and it fell in the water and I picked it up and it cycled, never missed a round. So I just had really good luck with them. So those are primarily the two guns we're going to be running this year. As far as like setup goes, it's a little bit different running and gunning with a kid than it is like a stationary blind.
We use like an umbrella blind.
Yeah, I think I actually got it from Academy. It folds up and looks like an umbrella. And Joe actually carries it in his turkey vest in the back. And when we get ready to set up, we pop it out, and I'll post a picture of it on Instagram, but it's kind of like, it's not a pop tent, but it's just enough to cover him. It's got 3 windows on it, and it literally looks like an umbrella, and it's in a camo pattern. I don't know which one, but we set it up, and he sets behind it and sticks the gun out of one of the windows, and I just sit on a tree like I normally would.
Yeah, and while he calls, I sleep.
Yeah, he really does.
That story's for later, Dad.
I
Not
don't
now.
know. Are we at later?
No.
No, not yet. But yeah, so it's the challenge with hunting with a kid, and Joe's been turkey hunting with me for the
About
last
2 years?
No, it's been 3 years easily.
Sure.
Yeah, because when you were younger, I always found it funny. When you're 9, you're about to be 10. So when you were probably 6 or 7, you would go hunt with me, and we'd walk 4.5 miles, 5
I
miles.
remember one time when we walked 9,
Yeah, we walked a lot of miles.
and I was like,
Well, you never really complained when you were little. You would just walk, and we'd set up, and we'd call and all this. And then as you get older, you don't like walking anymore. Like, you complain if we walk half a mile. You're like, "Ugh." I'm like, "Let's go move. Let's get on the turkey." And
I
you're just,
normally want to come with you when you're walking regular.
I know, but like now, these days, as you get older, you don't want to walk as much. It's kind of funny because you walked a lot more when you were little and didn't complain. Now you kind of complain and bicker about it, but that's part of it. Why are you looking at me?
No.
Do you remember the first time you ever heard a turkey gobble?
Mm-mm.
No,
Mm-mm.
not at all.
Mm-mm.
Gotta speak up.
No.
I do, but
What was it? Can you tell me?
it was in Hattiesburg because I didn't start hunting turkeys till I was in my 20s. And it was in Hattiesburg. A buddy of mine, when us went the first time, I take you to the exact spot where I was. It was in Columbia, Mississippi, actually, on my buddy's land. And it was early morning, and one started gobbling. And we chased that bird all over, watched it in a tree. It would bounce back and forth between trees. We were crawling on our hands and knees through thickets and briars, and didn't kill the bird. But I definitely remember that turkey.
What did my face look like
When?
when I heard it?
Well, you weren't there. That was me.
But you said first time I heard a turkey gobble.
I said, I remember the first time I heard a turkey gobble. You need to pay attention. I asked you if you remember the first time you heard a turkey gobble. You said no. I said, well, I remember the first time I did. And you said, oh, when? So I just told you the story, and you're like, all right, I want to tell my story. I've been telling a lot of stories. This is my favorite turkey hunting story. We tried real hard for many years to get Joe on a turkey.
3 or 2.
Yeah. And this actually was 2 seasons ago because we both struck out last year. It was a brutal season. So this was 2 years ago.
Last day of the season.
And we'd been on a lot of birds, but we never got on one. And so I
and also, this was the same bird Dad missed twice.
Not that year, no. I did last year.
Well, you missed it once that year and then the one before.
Okay. But I knew where this turkey was, and our season ends on May the 1st. And this was April 30th. I knew where he was roosted. So we get up May the 1st, very last day of the season, and we go after the bird, and it's early in the morning. We have to cross 2 creeks to get there, like pretty big creeks. Like, you have to slide down the banks, crawl up the other side.
One time Dad slipped.
Yeah, I've fallen in that water multiple times. So we sneak in. It's super early, a little bit overcast. You just tell, even though it's dark, you can kind of tell. And so we get set up on this tree, and this is, if you have one of those trees that is kind of like a killing tree. I've actually killed and seen more turkeys sitting at this one tree than I have anywhere else on our property or our deer camp. And so me and Joe, we get set up, and it's early. And did I hit an owl call or not?
Owl.
Yeah, I hit an owl call, and that Tom just hammered. Yeah, if
that was one of my best calls ever.
I don't know. All I heard were you scream in the microphone. But so that turkey hammered, and it's probably 5:50 in the morning. And I was like, okay, game on. Game on. So we just sit tight, we're quiet, and then it starts raining. And this
You like
it
sprinkling
wasn't raining
rain.
hard, but it was sprinkling. And this turkey is just hammering
Right.
every time the rain hits a leaf, he's going off. And he's going crazy. And
It sounded like he got farther.
no, not yet. He was hammering, it was still dark. And so we're sitting there and Joe's hyped up and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, this is it. We're ready. Let's go. And as the light starts to it starts to get light and he's still going. He hasn't shut up on the limb. And I do a little call sequence, maybe a little fly down, I can't remember. And then he's still going and he's hammering. It's about 6:10 and it's fully light out. And I call just a little bit, not a whole lot, and he's just on the limb, just wearing it out. And at the time, I thought maybe he'd gotten down and gone the other way. And in hindsight, I kind of realized he was just rotating in the tree and he was facing away from me. But about 6:15, he stopped gobbling, and I wasn't really calling anymore. I didn't call a whole bunch to begin with, but I just kind of shut up. And 6:15, he stops. A few minutes go by, I look over. Joe's already kind of out of it. He'd lost the adrenaline rush of the turkey not gobbling, or I'm just sorry, the adrenaline rush of the turkey gobbling. He was kind of bored at this point. And about 6:30, I look over there and Joe's just passed out. He's got his little pop tent in front of him. His shotgun sticking out the window, and he's slumped over asleep.
Trees are surprisingly comfortable.
Yeah, make sure you talk in that microphone. You're moving your head all around. But he's asleep, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, man, I don't know where this turkey went because I didn't hear him fly down. Did you know if you're close enough, you can hear him fly down? And I have no idea. But about 6:50, Joe's still asleep, and I hear a commotion, and I look straight ahead, and I watch that turkey jump out of the limb and fly straight down to the ground. And when he hits the ground, he's probably 50 yards from us, and he is just running straight at us. I'm not talking about walking. I'm talking about running. And I'm like, Joe, there's a turkey. Get your gun as quietly as I can. And he like stumbles kind of awake and he's trying to get on the gun. I'm like, Joe, he's right there. He's right there. Get on him. And this turkey closes with 15 yards, maybe less, before he starts to spook. And I'm like, Joe, are you on him? Are you on him? And he's like, no, no, no. Next thing I know, the turkey turns around and starts running off because he basically walked on top of us. I'm like, can you see him? Can you see him? And Joe's like, no. So I grab my 12 gauge and he's probably 50 yards away now. And I throw a couple shots trying to hit him as he's moving through the trees. And I didn't get him. But that was the last day of the season. And it was one of the best fly downs I've probably ever had because when he hit the ground, he just ran straight towards us. He would have been dead 10 times over if I would have been by myself. So that's my take on the story. What do you remember?
I feel like talking about it.
You got to talk about it. Get in that microphone.
All I remember is that he came flying down. You woke me up. I was like,
You gotta stay inside the microphone, son.
I got back in it,
I know.
and then I got on the gun. It swooshed across his head once. I'm like, I can't see him. I can't see him. And I'm not on him. And then you're like, can you see him? I'm like, no. And then you get up, you take a few shots, and then he runs to the right. And I get on a tree, and I almost decided to take a shot, but the safety is really hard to push off.
It was when you were littler, or I guess more little, smaller human. And he ran away. And when he says that, I didn't get up and run after him. I just threw my gun up, and I think I took 2 shots.
You ran after him.
Did I?
Yes.
I have a tendency
took off hauling and tried to get a clear shot at him.
That's right. Yeah. I kind of black out when I see turkeys. It's just moving on instinct. Because you've been with me when I've shot one, and the moment I shoot it, what happens?
You run straight at it and make sure it's dead.
I jump up and take off like I'm running in a race.
Fastest I've ever seen him run is at a turkey.
Yeah, that's probably true. As soon as I pull the trigger and see that it falls, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you have one kind of alive still, and you kind of like
that happens?
Grabbed it by the throat and choked it?
No, I didn't choke it. No, a lot of times you have the flop. The flop where they're on the ground flopping, but they're dead. They're just kind of flopping, so you stand on their head and wait for them to pass. But I think that the one you're talking about where I ran after it, I think I lost because I hunt with a chest rig. I'll talk more about it. But I think I lost my call that day.
Yeah, I think you did.
Because
good Good that it wasn't your limited edition.
Yeah,
That would have been real
but
bad.
it was a good call. I caught a lot of birds in with, and I actually, because my chest rig wasn't sealed because I was down calling, so it was unzipped. And when I got up, it kind of fell and stuff fell out of it. And I lost a good call that day. And then actually fast forward the next year, er, no, it's probably later that same season. I was kind of in this spot and just randomly looked down and saw my call sitting there.
Yeah.
It was never the same. It had been out in the rain and the wood had gotten all nasty and never sounded the same. But I found it, put it back together. And so anyway, we have to get the monkey off of Joe's back this season. We're gonna go hard. He just stuck his tongue out at me. For those of y'all that aren't in the room with us, he is not real happy talking about this. I think he's a little embarrassed that he slept through.
I know I'm still mad.
Yeah, he's mad. So he has a chip on his shoulder, and hopefully the next time we do a podcast, we'll have some good stories to tell about some goblin turkeys. Because I only have one camera out, and I've had
I thought you have two. One
uh,
on the pipeline, one at
the other one on the
house.
pipeline died.
Huh.
But we've had some turkeys, just kind of move through in passing, which is it's kind of my honey hole. This place always holds some turkeys. It's always just a really good spot.
We've
And
had the same turkey about 3 years.
yeah, I had one that just absolutely whooped me last season. It's kind of like it may be the same one Joe missed. I don't know. I chased the same bird for 30 days.
Long beard.
And he's got a really long beard. He's a smart turkey. The only time I ever actually had him in gun range, I say gun range. The only time I ever actually had a shot on him was when with me and Mister Mitch, a buddy of mine, we went hunting
This is a funny story.
and we split the tree, and I like to get in close. So
Hold on. My favorite story.
well, yeah, so we split, and he goes left, I go right, and I get in close and real close, and I watch him fly down. I watch the hen fly down. And I'm working them, and they actually walk 35 yards to my left. I have my gun up looking at them, but they basically split between where me and Mitch were set. So I would have had to. I was looking at the bird, but my shotgun would have been pointed in the direction of where Mitch was, and I had no idea where he was because we split. And anyway, I had to let him walk, and I just watched him walk away and catch up with Mitch. And he's like, "Oh, I'll stop way back there." He was about 200 yards behind me, 150 yards behind me. So I could have shot the bird, but I didn't. And he lived another day, and he beat me every day of the season last year. So I have a little chip on my shoulder, too, I guess you could say. I didn't shoot a turkey last year because I chased this one bird every day.
I think I have a bigger chip.
Well, probably because you could have shot that one. So
Yeah. He's only about 20 or 30 yards.
But yeah, so we're pretty excited. It is turkey time, and it is going to be an absolute blast. Hopefully, Joe can report back with some really great
Hopefully
news.
I can blast a turkey.
I know. I'm gonna actually, kind of post some stuff on Instagram, the shotguns, some of the patterns, some of the tech stuff I'm using. I'll post some pictures of Joe's setup with his little pop tent because if you run a gun with a kid, it's really nice to have because it kids don't stay still. Joe is almost 10. He's been in the woods with me his entire life, and he still can't sit still when we're turkey hunting. So it's really nice to have like this little pop up thing that I can put in front of him to cover him, keep him from making a bunch of movement. So yeah, that's about all I got. What do you have?
Not much.
What are you looking forward to besides turkeys?
Chilling eggs.
Yeah. Oh, I did have I got my Florida tag I pulled.
Yeah.
I ended up pulling a Kansas Unit 1 tag, and then I ended up pulling a Mississippi WMA tag. So I have 3 tags that hopefully I can fill in some new territory I've never been to. So I'm pretty excited about that.
And don't you really want an Osceola from Florida?
Absolutely. Everybody wants an Osceola from Florida. This is going to be my first crack at it on some public land with a limited entry quota tag.
This could be a once of a lifetime.
It could be. And if I can get to Kansas and get that done right, that's a Rio. I've never actually shot a Rio.
What do we have here in Mississippi again?
Easterns. You got the Osceolas in Florida, the Easterns, a lot of places, Rios, and then Miriams. I have killed a Miriam in Montana.
Oh, yeah.
But if I don't get to Kansas or I don't get a Rio in Kansas, I'm hoping maybe I can leverage a couple contacts in Texas and go try to get a Rio in Texas. because I do have a active Texas hunting license from deer season. So hopefully it's come Saturday, it's gonna be just full send until mid-May with turkeys. I mean, it is just gonna be turkeys every day. So yeah, that's what we're looking forward to. And then we got to pepper in baseball because it's now baseball season. Practices Monday and Tuesday.
I better get ready to be catcher.
Yeah, you love catching. So why are you acting like you don't love it?
I mean, I love catcher.
You're good at it too. So anyway, that's all I got. Tell me a joke.
Do you know judo?
No, I don't know judo.
Well, I know judo.
Who's judo?
You don't know I got a knife. You don't know I got a gun.
That's a terrible one.
Mom gave me that joke.
I know. I've heard that joke 1,000 times.
I know. Mom said it would be funny if I could pull it on you.
But you messed it up. You said you don't know. It's you don't know I got a knife. You don't know I got a gun. Anyway, you got anything else you want to talk about?
No. See you on the next one.
So hopefully the next one we report back with a Tom turkey down.
Yep.
With that.
And you can like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we post another one.
That's right. Y'all have a good one.
Catch you on the next one.